Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show today. It's been a couple weeks since we were doing the Evergreen Marketing Live. We had Summit a couple weeks ago. We've had 4th of July. We had some time off. We're going to be talking about value propositions today. I'm excited. It's going to be a good episode with Trevor. What's new, man?
Dude, yeah, just got back from a couple weeks of traveling around. So I think I mentioned it. Well, no, I was here for the Thursday before. I was here for the Thursday before, right? And so that was right after I got back from Richmond, Virginia and Philadelphia, which was great. But then we headed to LA for my oldest daughter, who's here in the studio today, McKinley. She's going to help us with some content later for her dance. Got to watch Dodgers game. Shohei hit a bomb. That was fun watching that. But yeah, dude, back in the swing of things, really diving in. And the topic today of a value proposition, this is near and dear to my heart because like this is at the core of marketing. So if anyone's watching this and you see yourself as a student of marketing, you want to make marketing better. A lot of people look crazy tactical at marketing. What is the marketing method? What should the ad say to get the lowest click cost or whatever? What we're going to show today is how to make all of your marketing better across all channels. How do you make your conversion better? Every single part of your marketing is going to get better because of what we talk about today on value proposition and positioning.
Nice.
You guys might need to riff for a few minutes here because Facebook is being super helpful.
Facebook's lagging on us, guys. But on the YouTube side of it, one thing I would encourage y'all to do is we do these shows every single Thursday around 11 o'clock Pacific. I think we have to adjust next week's to noon or around that or 11:30.
Yeah, noon next week.
But guys, what I'd encourage you to do is number one, subscribe on YouTube. Go join our Evergreen Marketing community in Facebook. And you just go to carrot.com/community. And you're going to be able to go to our Facebook community. That's where we live stream that. We do Q&A oftentimes after the shows. And we're always answering questions in there every single day. But one of the things I want to kind of toss over, Brady, while we're kind of waiting for Facebook to catch up so we can go live stream this and fully flip into the podcast, is you went from musician to podcast editor to marketer. Yeah. So for you as a person who has gone through those as well, what are some of the resources that you've gone through and you found most useful? I'm putting you on the spot here, but what are some of the marketing resources?
Dude, there's been a few. I mean, a lot of what I learned from marketing, I learned from you directly, but I'd say Russell Brunson's books. I remember a few years ago when I was first getting into marketing, the Russell Brunson's 30-day challenge.
Dude, yep.
Where he goes through how to create a compelling offer.
Yep.
And how to create a compelling story. I don't even remember it now. Now I'm just like, I'm doing it naturally when I write copy. I can't remember all the steps.
With both of those is when you do them well, that's positioning. Yeah. That's positioning. That's your value proposition. And so I love it. So those are great books. And I think I've got the book back here somewhere.
I think it was .com secrets.
Yep, there we go. .com secrets. Got it right there.
Yeah, expert secrets, .com secrets, unlocks the secrets, and traffic secrets. It was expert secrets. That's what it was. So Russell Brunson's expert secrets was a good one. One of my favorite books, man. It's specific to copywriting, but it transcends to all marketing. Ray Edwards, How to Write Copy That Sells.
Ray Edwards has great stuff, man.
And I love it because he's depending on the corners of internet marketing that you can get into. Some of it can be a little slimy or a little bit like all over and whatever. But anyways, Ray Edwards is just like, his style of copy is very straightforward, very honest, very ethical, and it's just super compelling. So, how to create really compelling offers with really honest copy. Yeah, Ray Edwards, How to Write Copy That Sells. One of my favorite books.
Dude, and at the end of the day, what they all do is help you to communicate how your company's different, why someone should work with you, and make it easy and lower resistance to work with you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we got the Facebook stream working. Dude, I'll toss over to you, man. Let's kick this puppy off and talk about value prop and position.
Do it. We'll podcast a second. You guys have questions? Put them in the comments, please. We'll keep an eye on the show, and then after we do this little podcast discussion, we'll jump into a live Q&A. So, we'll send to the podcast. What do you do when competition increases? How do you separate yourself from every other investor, flipper, wholesaler in your local market so that prospects want to choose you over the next person? It comes down to having a compelling, unique value proposition. So Trevor and I are going to talk about why it matters, how to create one, and some real examples that investors are using to win more deals. So Trevor, tell me, give me the red flags, give me the indicators of why and when someone needs to update their value proposition or make one, because they probably don't have one.
Yeah, dude. The first thing that I want to stress for this crowd here, okay, for real estate investors, for real estate agents, for home services, is I think a lot of people think that your value proposition or the reason people should work with you is, as an investor, as an example, I make cash offers, I close quickly, I do these things. As an agent, I'm the local market expert or whatever, which everybody's saying it. Okay, there's a few things that pop up when you can fully recognize your value proposition out there. Okay, the first thing, when you're losing business to competitors and you're not sure why, you're going, why did that person end up selling their house to that company? Or I talked with these leads, why did they ghost me? Oftentimes it's because we didn't differentiate ourselves enough from the other competitors. Okay, another one is you're continually having to explain to your prospects why you're different. So they go, so how are you different again from the other investor I talked to, or how are you different again from the other HVAC company I talked to?
What are you going to do for me?
Yeah, exactly. So then when someone's wondering how you're different and they're asking you those questions, they're trying to figure it out, what are they going to do? They're going to look at reviews to go, well, what do other people say about them? And then they're going to look at price. If they can't figure out that you're different, then they're going to look at your price. And as an agent, they're going to start to whittle down your commission. As an investor, they're going to start to shop your price, okay? Because your positioning is all about, it is the exact same as everybody else's. So if you're losing because of price often, or you're having people negotiate your prices down as an agent or as an HVAC or home services, or negotiating your offer, you should be not building enough value in a company in a lot. Another couple things, marketing dollars aren't pulling the ROI that you want them to pull. A lot of people blame the marketing channel. They blame the Google pay-per-click, or they blame the landing page. But what the real challenge usually is, not every time, sometimes it is that it's not the PPC campaign's not being ran effectively, right? Yeah. Sometimes it is that the landing page you're sending them to is just not set up well.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, if you have a well-structured landing page, it's built on Carrot, loads fast, it's got the opt-in box where it needs to be, is you have the same message as everybody else. We'll buy your house, we'll buy it quickly, we'll pay cash, help you avoid closings. Great. That's what every other house buyer in your market is saying. Yep. If you're an agent, there's probably very normal things. Like I said, we know the neighborhoods. We've lived in this town for 10 years. Like all the normal things, we're friendly. Every other agent is saying the same things.
Yeah.
So if you can literally take and this is the last one, if you can take any company's logo and plunk it at the top of your website, and it would apply to any of those other companies, any of your other competitors, then you have a massive value proposition and positioning issue.
Interesting, man. It kind of makes me think of I was at a car parts store the other day with my brother picking up car parts, and a guy walks in and was like, he was buying something, he was at the register, and he's like awesome, and as he's turning to go out the store, he's like, you know what, can you guys put this on for me? Like, no, we can't do that, legal thing, like we're not allowed to. And he's like, I'll give you $100. And the guy's like, he's like, oh man, I'd love to make somebody like, no, I can't do it for you. And then the other guy was like, shoot, I'll do it for you. I'll go take a break and do it. And then you drive to the business on the street and they get the sign out front that's like, I saw one on the way to work this morning. It's like $25 wipers installed.
Yep.
We'll install them for you. And I'm like, there's an example of value proposition.
It is, because now they're truly solving the actual problem.
Yeah.
The actual problem is not that they need to buy wipers. The actual problem is that they have water on their windshield that they need to clean off effectively.
Yeah.
And there's multiple steps in between to make that happen. You got to buy them, you got to unpackage them, you got to take the old ones off, you got to install the new ones.
Yeah.
And every bit of resistance that we can remove in that process for the end customer is a point of differentiation. It's an opportunity to differentiate ourselves from others. So in this episode, y'all, the thing I want to call all real estate, all you investors, all you home services, I want to call you guys to the mat today, because the vast majority of y'all who are complaining about lead flow or complaining about deals or who are trying to compete in this market are differentiated 0%. Okay, I think a lot of people in this industry almost treat it like a franchise. They say there's a franchise of wholesaling,
Yeah.
and all wholesalers say these things. We all say we'll buy your house, pay cash, close quick. Yeah, those are benefits. They're features of your service.
Yeah.
But once again, if everybody's saying the same thing in a crowded market, you will get crowded out, and it will be far harder to do deals. So we're going to show you a bunch of examples of really, really good positioning and value props. We'll talk about what bad ones are, and we'll show you guys exactly what you need to do to make your own value proposition to stand out.
Yeah. I bring up that windshield wiper example because I think it's funny because it's like no industry, no business came away with negative value proposition.
Yep.
You cannot have one, but you're going to
Yeah.
lose to the guy down the street most times.
I'll give you an example. So I was at went to the Dodgers game in LA this last week, and you could buy hats in various different ways. There's a store down the road that sells probably pirated Dodger gear.
Yeah.
When you're driving up the road, the cars, there's like 4 lanes of cars, and you're pretty much going at 1 mile an hour. And there was a bunch of guys standing in the middle of the lane with all probably their own pirated LA Dodgers gear, but they had hats and they had bags, and it all looks good. And they were selling theirs at a much bigger discount than if you bought it inside of the store. It's the same product, plus or minus. It's a blue hat with the LA Dodgers logo on it.
Yeah.
So what is the value proposition there? Their value proposition is convenience. Sit in your car and I'll hand you this thing. You give me your $20 or whatever, right? Yeah. You're going to get it a little cheaper. Now the value prop by inside of the building is you're going to get, it's guaranteed to be the real thing.
It's legitimate.
It's legitimate. It's from the park. You're going to feel like it's from the park, and there's other things there. But even those little things are those guys selling probably pirated gear outside of the stadium. They're doing it because they're offering it at a different value proposition. If they didn't have that benefit of convenience, right out, you just hand the dollars and I'll hand it in your window, and price, they wouldn't be able to sell the product, right? They wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and the only difference is that they're a physical local business, so the value prop is obvious. They don't need to market it, but we're talking about online marketing, and so you have to be really intentional and clear about your copy and your positioning.
Exactly. So we're going to get crazy specific here, guys. So let's first of all kind of break down what makes a good value proposition.
Let's do it.
Right. So the first thing that makes a good value proposition is you have to have a problem that you're solving that is clear to the person that sees it, right? That's the first thing. So this is something that I think all agents and investors and home services companies, for the most part, do well. Like if you join Carrot, your website already has the copy on it that talks about the problem that they're solving. Hey, you have a house you need to sell. Great, we'll make an offer or we'll list it. So that's already on there. But there needs to be some differentiation to it. It needs to be better in a meaningful way than the other solutions. So then we have to, value proposition and positioning important. If you think about what word position means, right? And I'm talking about positioning all the time. You guys probably get tired of me talking about positioning or comparing it to this and putting ourselves in the shoes of that prospect and saying, well, our service isn't the only one that they're looking at. They're looking at others as well.
Yeah.
And where do they put ours in that lineup of other solutions?
Yeah.
One good example here locally, there's a restaurant called Salud. Yeah, we take Carrot campers there. Every single Carrot camp, amazing taco shop. Before Salud moved to where they are now with the roll-up garage doors and turned into a taco shop and really narrowed down their menu and had a great bar, I would have never considered taking Carrot campers there. Never. I went to Salud. They used to be at a building on this block down here. Same logo, same company name, same guy who owned it. We went there a couple times. The food was good. We never had a bad meal there, but we were always confused at the menu because we thought it used to be a Mexican food place. They renamed it to Salud. We're thinking this is a fancy Mexican restaurant. I go in there, there's no burritos on the menu. I don't even know if there were tacos on the menu. And I'm going, I don't know what this is. You look at the pictures on the wall.
I remember seeing a cheeseburger the first time I went to
cheeseburger. There's all kinds of stuff. The pictures on the wall, I'm like, is that Spanish? Like, I think that's a Spanish photo or Italian or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. The vibe was weird. The vibe was different. Menu matched thought it was going to be. And the challenge was I didn't know where to put that restaurant in my bucket of options. It wasn't in the Italian restaurant bucket. It was no longer in the Mexican food restaurant bucket. It wasn't in any bucket. It wasn't in the fancy fine dining bucket like across the street at whatever it's called over there.
Yeah, true.
True. It wasn't in that bucket. It wasn't in the fast casual. It wasn't in the cheap. So I'm like, I don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
So what happens when you don't know where to put a company? You don't go.
Right.
You don't go because when you think about going,
confused people don't buy.
yeah, exactly. Because when you're talking about going out to eat, what do? Well, you go, what do you guys feel like? And they're like, well, hamburger, or I feel like Mexican food tonight, or whatever. And then once you narrow it down to Mexican food, then you go, okay, what are the options? You can go to this one, this one, this one.
Yeah.
That one never landed in a bucket until they changed. Okay, they then said, well, this isn't working. Let's move over here. Let's narrow it down. Amazing tacos. And it really is kind of fast, casual, cool environment. Everything matches now. Prices are fair. Taco shop. And now it's like, I want some, it falls in the bucket of quick, reasonable cost, and kind of Mexican foodish, right? And cool vibe. And so now we go there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Only thing that changed, y'all, was positioning.
Yeah.
And then their product followed. And so we're going to talk about that because what you guys are doing oftentimes is you create the product first. I'm going to wholesale and flip, and here's my product. I make offers at this rate, at this calculation. Then I go say, well, now let me make my positioning around that. No, you need to go, what is the gap in the market first? Let's look at all the options these prospects have. Look at all the options the motivated house sellers have. They can work with an agent. They can work with investors. They can work with all these investors. They can work with Open Door. They can work with OfferPad. They could do nothing, right?
Yeah.
What are all the options? Write them down. And I'm going to show you guys a canvas, a value proposition canvas that you can go grab and use. But then we need to say, great, where's the opportunity now? Mm-hmm. Where's the opportunity now? Because I can't just be the same as all of them. I need to say, where is the market being underserved? Where is the market being underserved right now? The market has needs. Where is it being underserved? When we look at a company like Open Door, okay, I'm actually share. I'm going to share on my screen here. Let's go. I think my computer might be freezing, or the internet's a little slow here today. Are you guys getting that choppiness in your end, Braden? Looked like it froze up on StreamYard. Cool. So I'm going to bring up my screen, and this is something that when Open Door first came out, we were getting a lot of questions from people saying, I want my site to look just like Open Door, right? Because Open Door is obviously a big company buying a lot of houses. And the challenge that I would have with people, and I toss it back to them, they're a solo mom and pop person out of, out of Dallas, and they want their design to look like this. I said, well, the challenge with this, y'all, is it's not about the design, it's about their positioning, and then the product and the positioning, or the product and the design matches the positioning that they're tackling. Mm-hmm. They said, what's the underserved need? The underserved need that they saw was a really, really quick, they considered was a transparent way to make an offer, receive an offer, and sell a house with really low resistance. I can just go online, put in my information, get an offer, and then they'll come over and look at it and then make it binding, right? They said, we're going to make it easy. Literally on the website, make the easy move.
Make the easy move, yeah.
It's all about ease. So what did they do then? They said the market is too hard to sell the house. Now let's make our positioning is we're going to be easier. Okay, so then they said, let's make our product and our features and our product easier. So let's go build in the software that makes it easier. Let's make it so after someone gets a phone call, it's easier. Let's do all these things so it's easier. Your website then has to follow that positioning. Sell to Open Door, skip the hard parts. They're showing their app. They're showing these things because that is literally a part of their product that supports their positioning of ease.
Yeah.
Okay. So you couldn't go make a website as a person who doesn't have the same positioning that matches Open Door's design because it's about ease. It's the same reason Dell and Apple have completely different looking marketing. They're going after solving problems. Apple couldn't have a website that looks like Dell.com or Amazon.com because the positioning is different. They're like, you want to be part of the cool crowd? You want to use a device that is for creators that helps you do these things? Great, come work with us. What do creators want? They want slick looking stuff.
Yeah.
The website better look slick.
Yeah.
It better have few words, right? It better be visually compelling. Dell, people are looking for specs. They're looking for the spec sheets. They're looking for the prices. They're looking for customization of the product,
Yeah.
right? So they look completely different. So when we talk about website design, and we'll go into this a little bit later, your positioning dictates the product you build, and that also dictates what your website and your marketing should look like as well.
That's good stuff, man. You want to talk about the beer analogy at all?
Yes.
Market sophistication.
Yeah, dude. So this is a good one. So we're going to get pretty geeky on marketing here now, guys. So you're going to go down the rabbit hole with me on marketing. So we might now ask the question, okay, Trevor. So when do I have to start thinking about positioning, or when do I have to actually start thinking about having a value proposition?
Yeah.
Right. And it really depends on what's called the sophistication of the market. And using this example, I learned from a friend of mine, Todd Brown, amazing marketer. This is back in 2008 or 9. He learned from one of the best copywriters in the world. I think this might have been Claude Hopkins or something like that. But anyway, so market sophistication talks about the dynamic that as the market ages, it's more sophisticated. As the market gets more sophisticated, it requires different marketing. Okay, so with beer, beer's been produced for thousands of years in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But at some point, someone decided to make beer commercially and sell it. And they said, well, people are making their beer. I see a problem that they don't want to make their beer anymore. It's a pain in the butt. Maybe I could just make bigger batches of beer and I can sell it to people. So in the early phases of beer as a consumer item, all they had to do for marketing was literally beer.
Beer. Yeah.
Like beer, 10 cents.
Yeah.
And people are like, dude, I can go buy beer from somebody. I don't have to get it in my house. Or McDonald's and those restaurants, when they came out, it was like, that was their positioning. Have a meal and you don't have to cook it, basically. And it's a fair price. So now they've got a business. They're selling beer. These other people see opportunity and go, well, I see opportunity that I can make my beer a little bit different. They see a market need. Okay, that guy's only selling one type of beer, and it looks like this, and it's just like this, and here's his price. You know what? I'm going to come in with a cheaper beer because this is too expensive. That's the market need. Or I'm going to come in with a different type of beer because not everybody likes a Pilsner. Other people might like this. Or he serves his beer lukewarm. Mine's going to be cold. So what my marketing is going to say, it's going to say cold beer, 10 cents. Same price.
Nothing better than a warm beer.
Yeah, exactly. So the marketing changes because it's getting more sophisticated. So you have to start to position differently. So in that case, that person positioned as the cold beer person, the more refreshing drink. Okay. And then it becomes a battle because as more competition comes in and people start to claim the same thing, your message gets watered down. And that's what's happening for agents. That's what's been happening for wholesalers, flippers, for home services. You guys are all saying the same things.
Yeah.
And so if you're saying the same thing and someone else's logo could be plunked at the top of your marketing message and say the exact same thing on your website, your direct mail piece, then you are in a crowded market likely, and you're likely losing significant business because you're not separating.
Yeah.
But as the market evolves, let's go back. You have all brands up and type beer up and people finding new needs, the market, new ways to differentiate. And now it's crazy saturated, right? So what do you see? You saw the craft brew revolution happen. That was a differentiation. Hey, here's all the stuff that's mass made and it's watered down and it's like you're drinking water. Here's this craft stuff over here. It's gonna be more expensive and it's got all these fancy flavors and stuff like that, right? And that's almost ran its course. Yeah. And so what you see happen is you see fancy labels on craft brew all of a sudden. They went from basic labels to all these fancy ones that grab your eye. Or in the big mass-produced beer, it goes to the packaging, the frost brewed can, where you start to see like the blue on the Rocky Mountains. If the Rockies are still blue, then it's cold. Or you see the wide mouth. Or you see, I remember years ago there was a cooler box. Yeah. So it was literally the box, the 18-pack, where you would open it up and it was really thick and had some plastic in it and some way you ice in it, and it's a cooler. But there's a million different things people have seen. That's called a unique mechanism. When a market is insanely crowded, oftentimes coming up with a unique mechanism like Open Door did with the instant online offer cracks through that market. So what we're going to do, y'all, is a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, I offer a basic service. Like, how do I come up with positioning? How do I come up with a value proposition, a unique mechanism that's truly different? You can, and I think I'd venture to say that you need to in order to thrive in this market. So I'll toss it back over to you, but we'll do examples here in a bit. We'll kind of talk through how to make it. But I'm going to challenge every single person here to make a value proposition, to stand out and be different. We'll show you how.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said like I have a basic business. What do I do? So it's almost like we need to go back a step. So we're talking about how to create a value proposition, but you really need to look at your business and think, what are the exact problems my prospects have? What are the problems? What are their fears? What are the desires? Something I learned from you in marketing is what do people buy before, or what are the actions they take before they come to your service, their product, and what do they do after? And how can we help meet those needs?
Yep.
And so I think maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but for examples, it's like a lot of people selling their house, they're going to need to move. That's a service that they need after they sell their house. So part of your value proposition could be, hey, we're going to take care of moving expenses, the moving hassle for
Exactly.
you. Like completely removing that fear and that overwhelm of, oh crap, what am I going to do? Okay, I've sold my house. That's only half the problem.
Yep.
For the person in the house, it might be 90% of the problem.
It's ease.
People hate to move.
Exactly. So you're coming in with the value proposition of ease, right? There's all these things, and we're going to make it far easier for you, and here's how. And then what I would venture that company to do in that case is go, what else do they have to do that makes this hard? How do I reduce resistance? And double down on it to say the truly easiest and fastest way to sell your house in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
But then you can't just say it, you got to back it up.
Yeah.
You got to back it up with testimonials and reviews. And then you have to back it up with different copy on your marketing and on your website and the way that you present it to people to show them how it truly is easier. And that's where it gets a little bit trickier.
Yeah. So, Trevor, tell me this diagram we got. Let's talk about it for the podcast listeners, and then we can jump into some real examples. But I like this kind of diagram, this canvas you have.
Yeah, so I've got a value proposition canvas. I'm showing on the screens. I'd encourage everybody who's listening to the audio version of this, go to our YouTube channel, check it out, go grab this, take a screenshot of it, draw it out yourself. But essentially, the way that I want people to think about value proposition, once again, this is in any business, y'all. And if you want to crush it as a real estate investor, as a real estate agent, as a home services, you need to become an amazing marketer. Okay. So what happens is we need to start with the customer first. You got to start with the customer first. If you look at this like pyramid, like this, down here is, first of all, is like, who are we serving? Then you go, what is the underserved need? Okay, what's the underserved need? And then there's a gap right here. I'm just going to draw a little gap. That gap is we have to recognize who is the customer, what is their underserved need in the market. And then this right here is basically your value prop or positioning or whatever. Okay, so actually this is value prop, and then this is your product up here. Like, what actually is the product? And like I said, a lot of people start with the product. They say, I'm a wholesaler, I'm an agent, bam, now let me go market that. No, you start with the customer. We start with the customer. And we use this value proposition canvas to, let me get out of this. Come on. We use the value proposition canvas to ask those questions. So we first say, like you were saying, Brady, what are their wants? So I'm just going to write in here, what are the wants of the customer? Well, they want to sell fast, right? They want to sell at a fair price or whatever it is. They want assurance that it's going to happen. They want security. They want, well, whatever it is. They want transparency.
Simplicity, yeah.
Simplicity
Is huge.
Write all these down. And what you might be asking, you might be saying, well, Trevor, how do I know what to put down in there? And this is where the real opportunity is as you're talking to your clients, as you're talking to your sellers, ask them those questions. Hey, well, what is most important for you in this transaction?
Yeah.
You know, what are the things when you're making this decision and you're choosing between option A, option B, and option C, what are those things you're going to be looking at the most? And that's what you're going to say when you're negotiating to truly understand them. But then write those down, because when you see patterns and you see enough people talking about that, then that's what you bring into your deal. You go, okay, this is what people truly want. I thought they wanted all these things, but these three are what they really want, right? Yeah. And so then you write those down. What are their fears? Well, their fears oftentimes when they're selling a house for cash is that they heard Aunt Sally had a wholesaler who backed out on them, right? That you're not going to fulfill the promise.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of real estate agents can position against if you're not a hybrid. Or a lot of investors can. Like we have investors who say, and this is their positioning, we close on 100% of contracts, of accepted contracts.
Yeah.
And they show their track record, right? We've bought 300 plus homes the past 3 years, and 100% of them closed or whatever.
Dude, that's a big deal. You talk about like the beer example, market sophistication. This conversation is way different than it was, probably 10 years ago,
Way
because
different.
so many more people know what a wholesaler is and what a real estate investor does. I went to Google a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember what I typed in, something like what is We Buy Houses, or
Yep.
something like who are the We Buy Houses, and I found this Reddit thread. It was really interesting, and it was just it was really kind of eye opening, because it just showed me like how many people are fully aware of like, yeah, that's what wholesalers, and everybody, like 9.5 out of 10 people were chiming in, was like, this is exactly what a real estate wholesaler is. This is what they do, and a lot of it was not good.
Yeah.
The industry has a bad rep, and it was just interesting. It's like that conversation wasn't happening 10 years ago.
Yep.
And so it's something that wholesalers specifically, but flippers, investors, you have to position yourself against that.
Yep,
You
do.
have to make a case for transparency, fairness, simplicity. Yeah.
And this is why we've been driving kind of the hybrid revolution, right? Because yes, if every wholesaler fits every property in a box where it's got to be purchased at a deep discount, and someone who wants full retail gets kicked out the door and they're not a fit, then you are going to be seen as the person who comes in and offers drastically low offers. But what if you're a person who comes in to solve any seller's problem, and you have an offer that's a discount cash offer if they value speed and convenience more than the money in their pocket right now? But then also, if they value money in their pocket more than speed and convenience, you can get them full price. That's how you start to change the narrative in the market. Because the people that are complaining about that are the people who would never accept a discounted cash offer.
Right. I should say that in all fairness, a lot of the people, those weren't sellers. There were a few of them, or there were a few people that knew a seller. It's like, hey, my grandma or my mom, whoever, worked with a wholesaler, or I worked with a wholesaler, and this is why it makes sense. So there were a few of those. Like, here's a use case, here's why it makes sense, and there are good ethical ones out there. But you're talking to a different group of people.
Exactly. So you want to document down what are the wants, what are the fears, what are their needs, like what are the things that you need to fulfill on in that transaction, right? And they probably need to be out from under the house, and that they might need to leave some things at the house, and there's just some things. Write down all the needs, and these come from conversations. So if you're in home services and you're having conversations with a homeowner or whatever it is, you collect these conversations and go, okay, I've heard this a bunch of times. Let me make a note of that now. Okay, once you understand the customer, then what we're going to do, and this particular worksheet doesn't really make room for it, but we're going to say, what is the underserved need? Okay, of all these things, now let me go look at the other options they have. Let me Google around, look at all the websites in the top 5, 6, 7 that are ranked in Google for your market. That's the first thing I would do if I'm going into your market, is I'm going to Google it, and I'm going to look at the top 5 websites and read what their copy says. What do they say that their positioning is? And if I see that they're all the same, I'm going to come at you with something completely different. Okay, it's still going to be, I'm going to buy your house quickly, and I'm going to do this, but I'm going to go, well, none of them are offering, none of them are saying this. And I'm going to double down. This is what my messaging is going to be. And I'll give you a few examples. Bo Hollis on his website, Simply Sold, he's got some words up there. And I would encourage, actually, if this is his positioning, to raise it higher. But I don't know if that is what he's doubling down on, where it says you're going to receive the highest cash offer. He might say guaranteed, but you're going to receive the highest cash offer in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, that's great. In Louisville, that's right. And we're going to be out in Louisville in a couple months. I mean, not you, but part of the Carrot Crew for our epic event. But so that is one thing. But what I want to ask you, clients who are listening to this, is you need to double down on that position. You can't just mention a couple words here and there. It literally is part of the hero section of your website. It's what you need to find data and use data to back up the fact that you are the one who's offering the higher. So you need to find reviews and have reviews and put them all over the place, and have the people post reviews and Google reviews that show that you made an offer that was higher than the other alternatives. Or if you're faster, you need to have data and show that you're faster. If you're a real estate agent and you truly do sell houses for more, and you're like, no, I am able to get people a higher price, prove it. You can't just say it, because every other agent says the same thing. You need to prove it. So go to the data, look up the MLS data, which is freely available, and find out what your average home sale price was, or your speed of sale of home. Maybe you sold homes on average in 65 days, and the average in the market was 85. Cool. We sell homes 25% faster than other agents than the rest of the market, right?
Yeah.
Or on average, we sell homes in 65 days. The rest of the market's average is 85. Do you want to risk? And then bring in your value prop?
Yeah, we sell on average X% faster than
Yeah,
most listings.
exactly. Or let's say that you aren't the highest offer or the quickest. You can say we're the most trusted. Well, now we got to prove it though, right?
Yeah.
We can't just say that we're the most trusted. So, down the road, there's two teriyaki places in town.
Yeah.
And they probably both say we have the best teriyaki in Roseburg.
And every time someone brings one up, I never know which one they're talking about because it's the same thing. I see where you're going.
they both say best teriyaki in town,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't think either one of them's better than the other. But
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're going to say you're the best teriyaki in town, that's your position. You better be the best teriyaki in town. You better prove it.
Yeah.
And so how do you prove it then? Well, if you're the best teriyaki in town, I'm going to, in all my advertisements, have reviews and testimonials where, like, I'm going to do the old Pepsi Coke challenge. I'm going to have 2 bowls of teriyaki, one from this one for that one. And if I'm confident enough that my darn teriyaki is better, I'm going to do a blind taste test and put people up against it, go taste these teriyakis and rate it. Hey, 9 out of 10 rated our teriyaki better than the others. Great. You just proved it. And now show it.
Yeah.
Record those videos, put them up on YouTube, put them up over on your website. Have a rolling thing of those videos in your store. Have a picture outside of your teriyaki versus the other one in town and make yours look better. Like, you have to really double down on that positioning. It doesn't work anymore to just say it. Okay, you can't just say it. And there's so many people who are just saying it. And we're talking about this internally too, where it's like, Carrot's about performance and we can prove it, but we need to say it more. We need to say it and show it and prove it more because we've got all the data to show that we are faster, that our websites convert higher, that our websites tend to rank better and dominate Google. We have the data uncategorically to prove it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work unless you prove it and shout it from the rooftops everywhere along the way.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's getting me thinking, maybe this is a terrible idea, and somebody who's actually investing in wholesaling could tell me if this is a terrible idea, but asking clients how many other people they spoke with or how many other people they compared and getting that data. It's like, well, I went to 6 other websites, or I talked to 6 other people, and maybe leveraging that data and say out of X amount of people, out of X amount of sellers that we talked with, this is how many I ended up working with. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but.
Exactly. So let's kind of, I'm going to go back to the canvas. So once you've nailed the customer part, and this is where positioning is, and your value prop is right in the middle. Okay, right in the middle. So you go, number 1, nail customer. Number 2, let's determine what the underserved need is. This is our value proposition. This is where we see the opportunity. Number 3, now we go make the product. And once again, everyone does it backwards. They go, number 1, product. Number 2, who's our customer? And then let's figure out how we're different. Completely backwards. And that's why it probably isn't working as well for you guys. So now we have the value proposition. Now we go build our product. That's what Open Door did.
Yeah.
They said, here's the value prop, and now we're going to invest millions of dollars to build the product to fulfill on that value proposition, on that positioning. Okay. And so we go, okay, what is the experience going to be like with our product now? So if we're the easiest, what are the parts that are hard and that add resistance for that seller or that buyer? If we're the cheapest, what are the things we need to do on our end to truly make our offering cheaper? Like Costco and Walmart, they're able to make their offering cheaper because of their scale. So they've gone out there and said, no, this is our value proposition, is price. Right? It's price. And so they use that to then negotiate against and for getting the volume discounts. They said, this is the gap. Here's how we change the experience now. Now let's go. What are the benefits you get with us? Okay. The experience with us is going to be easier. It's going to be faster. It's whatever your value proposition is. Here's the things we need to change in our product to make it fulfill on that value proposition. Now let's write down what are the benefits you get now. Well, we get speed, or we get comfort, or we get reliability, or whatever those things are. What are those benefits you're going to get? Peace of mind, more money in your pocket, a faster close, whatever that is. And then now we're going to go, cool, what are those features that we're going to go build in order to drive those benefits?
Yeah.
And that feature could be the way that you make your offer. The feature could be that everything is over the phone. The feature could be, that 100% of the houses that we buy, we see in person. There's a million features that you can build as a house flipper, agent, investor. I was talking to Seth Bueckley, our friend, a mentor yesterday, and there's a company. This guy's a construction company, and he was selling his services, and he discovered that the margins are way better when he sells his services that are for, like, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm listing a house and I've got a buyer here, and that buyer makes an offer, there's an inspection that's done, right? There's a list that comes from the inspector, and the inspector legally can't do the work. Like, they're barred from doing the work. And so there's these 9 things in the inspection punch list. In order to get that transaction done, if that buyer demands those 9 things to be done, they got to be done. And so this contractor discovered that their margins are far higher on work done with from inspection checklists, because there's urgency. They can charge a little bit more for it. They go in and do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's the best way that I can now just get more inspection work?
Yeah.
Okay. He goes, we're going to be the inspection contractors. And it wasn't working. He would go talk to agents. He'd talk to other people. It wasn't working. So he goes, okay, what if we created an app that the agents use, that they can punch in the things from the they can import the inspection report.
Yeah.
The inspection report then, the software then takes it and it makes a binding bid for all those things.
Yeah.
So now the agent can take that back to the buyer and the seller and say, here's a binding bid for all the work. It's going to be $1,800. It's a binding bid. You can say yes to this now.
Yeah.
25%, and he has about 300 to 400 of those things a month, of those reports a month through his software. 25% say yes to have him do it.
Sheesh.
That's positioning.
Yeah.
And he built the product to support the positioning.
Yeah.
He didn't do it the other way around. And that's where I think a lot of us go flat.
That's good stuff, man. That's a really good example of, like, starting with the actual need and then creating the value proposition around that. I want to ask everyone, if you have any questions, put them in the chat right now, and we'll do a really quick Q&A afterwards. If we don't have any questions, that's okay. We'll bounce after that. But do you have any questions? What are your difficulties? What are your struggles around creating a value proposition? Or if you have value proposition you think is really good that you want to share with us, put it in the chat. We'd love to hear that too.
Yep.
But let's give some real examples real quick, and then we'll run through these, and then we'll hop over to Q&A. I'll start with a couple of my favorite ones, Trevor, and then I'll toss it over to you to cover some of this list. One of my favorite ones is offering multiple options. And so I can't think of a specific website that does this. Maybe you can, Trevor, but saying we'll give you multiple options to sell your house and making the process as transparent as possible. Yep. Even if you don't do it on the website, you can do it in the negotiation or at the appointment with the seller. But just saying, hey, we're not just going to give you the cash offer, whether it makes sense to sell with us for a cash offer or list with an agent. We're about you and what you need. I think that's so much better than saying, hey, here's this one thing. If you're not a fit for us, that's okay. Go find another solution. I personally don't think that's serving someone really well, just telling them to go find someone else.
It's a huge underserved need.
At least connect them with someone.
It's a huge underserved need. And so if you walk that back a step, and once again say, well, what is the underserved need there? It's what we talked about before. Agents are coming and everything looks like a listing, and if it's not a listing and it's not pretty and ready for show and all that stuff, then it's going to go out the door. And wholesalers got to look like this. If it's not, it's got to go out the door. It's like, no, this gives you the confidence and comfort that all of your options are on the table and you can choose. You've got choice now in this, and then you build your product to support that.
Actually, I think we had this in the notes. We forgot to bring it up, but Ryan Dossey's doing a good, I think he's doing this really well. Was it soldfast.com?
Yes,
is that what it is?
Soldfast.
Soldfast.com. So Ryan Dossey's new franchise has started, soldfast.com. The tagline is sell your house easier. And then the subheading below that is selling your home doesn't have to be hard. Get a fair offer with all your options from Sold Fast. And so it kind of breaks it down on the website. There's different types of photos that look more professional, photos that look a little bit more casual. But yeah, I think that's a good one.
And then he backs up, and this is the important thing, guys. You can't just say we're easier. That's the start of it. Now you've got to back it up and prove it, right? So like you're saying on his site, it says sell your house easier. Selling your home doesn't have to be hard. Get a fair offer with all your options from Sold Fast. So it still addresses the things. Hey, I have a service where you can sell your house. It can be quick. Right, so they're still saying the same things, but in a different way. Yeah. And that's what we're saying is people might be going, well, our service is the same. How do I say it? How do I differentiate? You're going to say a lot of the same things, just in a different way. And then over on the right, there's a picture, 5-star rating, and the testimonial supports the positioning. And that's where I think it's really important people recognize that your reviews and testimonials and data needs to support the position, because the positioning and the value prop is king. And so it says, thank you so much for such an easy process. You're wonderful. Day Swells. They gave us peace of mind. Right away, we were comfortable, and it was easy. And then it's just, we didn't have to do anything, right? Here's another review. We didn't have to do anything. We're just going on with it and putting the money in the bank and living happily ever after. That sounds easy to me. Then it's the easiest way to sell your house. Here's the 3 steps. More testimonials around it. It really is easy, that video says. And here it is again.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing backs up the ease.
It's all about easy.
All about ease.
Another one, I mentioned this earlier, but we'll cover moving expenses. It's just thinking about what happens pre-purchase and post-purchase. So we'll help you transition. We'll help you move. One example I can think of this is it Laurel Buys Homes or Laurel Buys Houses? Laurel out of Sacramento. Laurel comes from a hoarding background. She came from a hoarder home herself, and so she knows what it's like to be hoarded, or at least to be raised by hoarders. And so much that she wrote a book about hoarding. And the book about hoarding, it's a free book that she gives away, not to the seller, not to the actual hoarder, but to the hoarder's family. So the family better knows how to support the hoarder. That is super niche, super specific, and it's solving a need that it's very overwhelming and nobody else knows how to solve. It's like, here's this free book. Aaron on their team hand delivers it to the person, says, here, we want to help you. Here's a resource. And we're going to help you. We can help you get through this.
Love it.
Sell the house.
Love it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
And it doesn't take a big shift like that. We're not talking about a completely different business model. It's just saying, what slightly different take am I going to have on it, and I'm going to really, really drive that.
Yeah, and you don't, like in Laurel's example, they didn't even change the entire position of their website or even the top of the website. They're just adding little things on. They're just adding those extra USPs onto their existing messaging. A couple more. We're local. We're local business. Maybe you're a veteran-owned business. Chris Ty does this in the Facebook group. He's a contractor. He's got the veteran-owned logo in the top of the website there. Family-owned, female-owned business. We're the most experienced. Maybe you've been around the longest. Maybe you've been in your local market for over 10 years. We just started leveraging that at Carrot because we just hit our 10-year anniversary last fall. Or shoot, how many other software companies in the real estate space have been around 10 years? So leverage those things, leverage your expertise. Any other ones you want to add, Trevor?
Dude, I'm bringing up this one on the screen because you had mentioned the length of time in business. It was funny when we were talking with Pacific Air Comfort, one of our first HVAC companies who came aboard, Carrot, for the HVAC side of things. We were doing exactly what we're talking about with her. We pulled up the competitors' websites, and one of their competitors said something of the effect of, the longest, we've been in business the longest in Douglas County, basically. And she goes, no, they haven't. Like, we've been in business for this much longer, like another 5 years longer or something like that. And I go, okay, cool. That's the thing with positioning. Anybody can say anything. Anybody can say anything. If you don't prove it and show it, it doesn't matter what you say. And so that was one of the things that we brought in here. We go, okay, so you heard their copy didn't say that before. And it was important to them that it showed that that's part of their position. We've been around the longest out of anybody. And there must be some credence to the fact our business is good if we've been around that long. So now it says trusted by Douglas and Lane County homeowners and businesses since 1981. Another part of their positioning that isn't on the site yet, there's a couple things. So number one, the 24-hour emergency service is, because not all HVAC companies do 24-hour emergency service. They're local, which pretty much all the ones here locally can say that as well. But one thing that they're working on is more the subscription model. And that is really compelling. So once again, they're saying, what is the underserved need? Well, the underserved need is prices in the heating and cooling industry have gone up so much since COVID for materials. And in some cases, 50, 100%. And so she's like our costs have dramatically gone up. And so now when they're going to a client and their costs have gone up so much, there's a lot of challenge around costs when they have to say, well, it's going to cost this amount.
I got called by my HVAC company. It was like $125, $150 for an inspection. I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. What about for an inspection and cleaning? What actually needs done?
Yep.
It's over $400. I'm like, nobody wants to get hit with a $400 surprise out of nowhere once a year.
Exactly.
Like, break it up. Yeah, do something different.
So this materialized over the last handful of years, this need. And so they go, cool, what positioning or what value proposition do we want to have based on this need? And so they have a program, and it hasn't really rolled out in the website and the marketing yet, where it's a subscription. And rather than having, it's almost like insurance plan, right?
Yeah.
Now you pay whatever it is, $80 a month or $100 a month or something like that. And it includes whatever, 2 services a year. It includes filters, every 2 months. It includes this, it includes blah. And so now that client can put in their budget $80 a month or $100 a month or whatever level that they want. They know all this is going to get taken care of, and they don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And they get a discount on other things too.
On the $100 a month plan, do you get like the owner of the HVAC company when it's hot, like comes by with one of those little fans, those like handheld fans, and like, we'll mist you?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And then another thing that they're doing, which is really cool, and this goes into positioning and crafting the product based on it. Guys, real estate investors and agents, you guys can do the same darn thing. We just need to get more creative. When you get creative, this is how you truly crack through and dominate the markets. Is they said, okay, well, what else can we do to address that underserved need of costs getting crazy? And they said, well, we're going to do like FaceTime video consults with people, where you can, so now they have their technicians between calls, so that's wasted time for a technician, right? They're driving 20 minutes from this call to that call. They have a stack of calls now that they make, and they do a FaceTime when they get in that van. They do a 10-minute FaceTime, and the person can pay, I think it's like $20 or something like that, and you can get the whole thing diagnosed with that $20 deal without having to pay an $80 or $100 house call. And so they said that that's working. And people are enjoying it. That I can book a 20 minute or whatever it is, 10 or 20 minute FaceTime call with a technician and have them diagnose it for me. And she said sometimes the people have actually fixed it themselves while on the call without having to pay the $100 service time. Guys,
like
then you take that and put it in your messaging. That's what value prop is. That's what positioning is.
So I'm sitting over here typing and being rude while you're talking, Trevor, because I was going to ChatGPT because he said we got to get more creative, and I'm thinking, okay, I can get more creative. I can also go to ChatGPT at the same time. So while you were talking, I went into ChatGPT and I said, and we'll wrap it up after this. We're not going to do a Q&A today. We don't have any. Got a couple comments in the chat. We don't have any explicit questions, so we're going to skip the Q&A for today. Do it next week. But anyways, I went to ChatGPT and I said, give me examples of unique value propositions. Or I actually said raw positions because I was typing so fast, that I can use as a wholesaler or real estate investor who buys houses for cash that nobody else is using. I'm going to rattle these off. Speedy transactions with transparent processes. Aha! This has no context for the podcast that we just did. Get a fair cash offer within 24 hours and close in as little as 7 days with full transparency throughout the process. This is interesting. Number 2, environmental impact. We prioritize eco-friendly renovations and resell homes with energy-efficient upgrades, contributing to a greener community.
That'd work really good in places
people
like
might
Ashland.
Care. People really care about the Ashland, California. A lot of places on the West Coast. People are going to care about, like, what are you going to do with it after the fact? Plus, you should anyways, because you're going to get rebates for doing eco-friendly renovations. Anyways, this is a big one. Community revitalization projects. Laurel buys houses. This is one that they take seriously as well. They really care about their community, and they really care about the look of the home. I think they do a lot of homes in historic districts. And so they put a lot of care and effort and design into their flips, which not everybody does. So it says, by selling to us, you're directly contributing to the revitalization of local neighborhoods, improving community spaces and housing standards. I think that's cool. Put pride into your flips. Number 4, flexible closing dates. We offer fully customizable closing dates to fit your schedule, giving you the flexibility you need during your transition. And then number 5, I thought this one was really good. Pre-sale home improvement consulting. Our team of experts provides free home improvement consulting to help you maximize the value of your property before selling.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's
that really
killer
shows
for
that
agents.
You're after their best interest, and it's not just, I hope you don't do anything so I can get a better price on the home. There's 5 more. I don't know why I broke it apart in 2 sections. I'll rattle these off. No hidden fees guarantee.
There we go.
See, they kind of they branded that term, no hidden fees guarantee. Sell your home with confidence, knowing there are absolutely no hidden fees, commissions, or closing costs. Full service moving assistance. I called that one already. We offer complimentary full service moving assistance to make your transition as smooth and stress free as possible. Local market expertise, renovation before sale, charitable contributions, long term leaseback options. Yeah, that was another one I thought of while we were talking. Is like how to sell my house, how to sell my house fast and stay in it.
Yep.
Like just the ability to stay in your home
Yep.
after you sell it. Yeah, there's some good ones. And this was literally a 20-second chat GPT prompt.
Dude.
It doesn't take a lot of effort to get more creative with this.
That's the thing, guys, is what I want you to do kind of in closing here is number one, recognize that the symptom of a bad value proposition and positioning or none, no intentional, is revenue challenges in your business. It's lost customers. It's not knowing why marketing isn't working. It's your ROI and your marketing budget not working. It's conversion rate on websites starting to sink over time. And if you have seen things sink over time where it used to be really good, but now let's say 2 years ago, but now it's not. If you haven't changed the messaging, it's likely because the market changed around you and they started saying the same things you're saying, right? And so if you're experiencing any of those, the answer is not giving up the business. The answer is get creative and come up with a value proposition that stands out and do exactly what we talked. Grab that value proposition canvas or just go through and write down what are the wants, the needs, and the fears of our customers. And you learn that by talking to them. Number two, based on what I've learned, what do I see as the underserved need in my market versus the competitors that are out there? Go Google search sell my house fast or best real estate agents in or whatever it is that your market would search or best HVAC companies in, and look at the top 5, top 10 websites and see if they're differentiating. And then spend a day or whatever and say, this is how I'm going to differentiate, and then go build your product to fully fulfill on that. Okay, now I'm going to go make it easier. What parts of this transaction do I make easier? Okay, now I'm going to make have better offers. Well, how do I actually make a higher offer? There's got to be something on the back end I make more money in. That's why Open Door does. They make money in title. They make money in title insurance. They make money in mortgage. So that's one of the reasons they're able to pay higher. Then they go, well, how do I make the product so I can pay higher? We make our money in the back end.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you build the product to support that positioning, not the other way around, guys. You do that, you'll crush it. Let us know on our Facebook group if this resonated, but also the challenges you're having with positioning and value prop, and we can work with you in the Facebook group. That's why we have the group. Pop those questions in there and say, hey, listen to this podcast. I watched this YouTube video. How about this value proposition? What about this positioning? We will work with you through there. It's going to be a blast helping you guys stand out and deliver better service in 2024 and beyond.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you got value out of this, share with a friend. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But otherwise, we will see you not at 11 o'clock next week Pacific, but noon next week Pacific. And thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Heck yeah. See you guys.